welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I have to say, you must have expected the condemnation from the UN Security Council at this point, given that this action was not taken with any agreement with the Republic of Cyprus. Would there have been any other response from the UN?
No, you're absolutely right. This reaction was absolutely expected. And one quite minor but a major correction in your question, the reference to the so-called Republic of Cyprus. There is no legitimate Republic of Cyprus. It's a purely Greek Cypriot state that has been allowed to pretend to be the Republic of Cyprus. And that is exactly where the UN has failed to be assistant to efforts to help settle the Cyprus problem. For decades, we, the Turkish Cypriots, have kept waiting for the UN to be a source of justice, truth, and fairness. Unfortunately, the UN has proven to be quite the opposite. If a purely Greek Cypriot state is allowed to sit at the UN General Assembly as a member country of the UN, calling itself the Republic of Cyprus, then the UN is basically favoring the Greek Cypriot propaganda machinery, which claims that the purely Greek Cypriot state is the Republic of Cyprus on its own, and that the Cyprus problem is a problem that began in 1974, and that it is nothing other than a so-called Turkish invasion and continued occupation. Now, this is not the definition of the Cyprus problem. The definition of the Cyprus problem is that the Greek Cypriot state is allowed to pretend to be the Republic of Cyprus. If the Greek Cypriots will continue to be spoiled and allowed to pretend to be the Republic of Cyprus on their own, excluding the Turkish Cypriot partner, because as you know, the 1960 Republic of Cyprus was established on the basis of political equality of two co-founding partners, and that neither of the two partners would have the right to be the Republic of Cyprus by excluding the other partner. Yet, that is exactly what the UN has done, and having done so, the UN is the one actor that is preventing a settlement of the Cyprus problem. By treating the Greek Cypriots as if they are the Republic of Cyprus, and by treating the Turkish Cypriots, the other co-founding partner of the Republic of Cyprus, as a mere community of that republic, the UN has deemed itself ineffective in the settlement efforts of the Cyprus problem. And that is why I said earlier that this reaction was quite expected by us. No other reaction from the UN was to be expected.
So this sounds...
Unfortunately, the UN is the spokesman of the Greek and Greek Cypriot side.
So this sounds like the impasse that it has been for decades now. Recently, we saw the Turkish President Erdogan go to the northern part of Cyprus and push for a two-state solution. But how do you move forward in that, given that there's no agreement and given that no other country in the world recognizes the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus as a state?
Well, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus to this day has not openly pursued a policy of seeking recognition. So to label the TRNC as a country that has not been recognized by any country other than motherland Turkey is not quite the true picture.
Okay.
Besides, recognition does not, or non-recognition does not signify whether a country is a state or not. The fact that the international community, the UN Permanent 5 refuses to recognize the TRNC does not mean that TRNC does not exist.
Right.
The international community refused to recognize Communist China for 25 years. it did not mean that communist China did not exist. What we are saying is our sovereign equality and our equal international status, our statehood, is not dependent on any other actor or any other country recognizing it. We are a sovereign, independent people. We have our own state, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, and the one country in the world that is most important to us, motherland Turkey, recognizes the TRNC. This reaction of the UN Security Council, it does not mean that we are going to back up and say, okay, we are not independent, we are not sovereign, we are not a state, because they don't recognize us. It's a mistake of the international community. It's a mistake of the UN Permanent Five. The ball is in their court. It's a decision that the Security Council has to make, whether they are going to continue discriminating against the Turkish Cypriots as they have done so for 6 decades, or they are going to turn a new page and adopt themselves to the realities on the ground. The UN Security Council has a choice. Either they are going to pretend that the wrong decisions they take at the Security Council is the reality, or whether they are going to adopt the wrong decisions they have taken to the reality on the ground. So this reaction of the International Committee, of the UN Security Council, or of individual countries here, there, and everywhere, does not mean to us that we are going to change our policies, does not mean to us that we have made a mistake, so we must give up our statehood, we must give up our sovereignty. Quite the opposite. This wrong reaction of the UN Security Council means to us that we are on the right track, and we're going to continue our cause as a separate sovereign people and a separate sovereign state.
All right.
On the island of Cyprus. The island of Cyprus is one island with 2 states.
Got it. All right, Tahsin Ertuğruloglu, thank you.